Hello! In this presentation, we will be discussing the Trail of Tears and the resources I used for researching this project. To the right of the slide is a portrait of Andrew Jackson, the 7th President of the United States, a major person of interest involved in the Trail of Tears. Indian removal took place from roughly 1830 to 1850 and involved the forced relocation of Native Americans to the west of the Mississippi River to make room for American settlers. On the routes, around 2,000 to 6,000 Native Americans died from exposure to the elements, disease, and starvation. The Native Americans mainly involved in this migration were known as the 5 civilized tribes. The Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Muskogee, and Seminole Indians were all included. Though Indian removal was approved by Congress through the Indian Removal Act of 1830, of particular note is that the bill did not give the President power to forcibly remove the Native peoples from their lands. To the right is the Trail of Tears National Historic Trail map. The Trail of Tears passes through present-day Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, North Carolina, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. The secondary source used for this research project was a book named The Trail of Tears, Rise and Fall of the Cherokee Nation, written by John L. The book is written in a narrative style and focuses on Major Ridge as its central character. Major Ridge was a Cherokee leader and warrior who fought in the Cherokee-American Wars and later led the Cherokee in alliances with the then-General Andrew Jackson in the Creek and Seminole Wars. A member of the Cherokee Triumvirate, Ridge supported acculturation and later in life became a wealthy plantation and slave owner. Because of the book's uses of Ridge as a focus, it takes the opportunity to get a more balanced view of Native American attitudes at the time, and the variety of conflicting viewpoints different tribes and leaders had. This portrait of Major Ridge was painted by Charles Bird King in 1834. The primary source used in the research project was the Indian Removal Act itself. Approved by the 21st Congress, it details all the powers given to the President in the Act of Indian Removal. These powers included making deals to exchange lands, appraise improvements added to the land by Native Americans such as barns and houses, and a budget of $500,000 to pay for the journey Native Americans would take to these new lands. Of particular importance is Section 3 of the bill, which states that in the making of any such exchange or exchanges, it shall and may be lawful for the President solemnly to assure the tribe or nation with which the exchange is made that the United States will forever secure and guarantee to them, and their heirs or successor, the country so exchanged with them. It's clear that in the future this is a promise that would not be kept, and nowhere in the document does it give the President the right to forcibly move Native Americans to new lands. To the right is a page of the original document, with Section 3 highlighted in red. Also used for researching the project was a scholarly article named Abuse of Power, Andrew Jackson and the Indian Removal Act of 1830. Written by Alfred A. Cave, Professor Emeritus of History at the University of Toledo, this article was featured in the academic journal Historian. A number of misconceptions about the Indian Removal Act have become prevalent over the years, such as that it gave the right to forcibly remove Indians from their lands, and Cave attempted to disprove these notions in this article. Not only did President Jackson ignore decisions made by Congress in the creation of the bill, but also treaties. As noted by one of Jackson's close supporters, treaties with Native Americans were considered nothing more than an empty gesture to placate Indian vanity. Jackson also ignored precedents set by multiple court cases, such as Worcester v. Georgia and Cherokee Nation v. Georgia, in which Chief Justice John Marshall decided both times that dealings with Native tribes and the United States were those of nations, and that the individual states had no jurisdiction over Native American affairs. Jackson was known for being rebellious, and in regards to Marshall's decision famously stated, "John Marshall has made his decision, now let him enforce it." In conclusion, Andrew Jackson heavily abused his power as president, overstepped his bounds, and flagrantly ignored the checks and balances placed upon the presidential branch by the legislative and judicial. Though the fairness of Indian removal is questioned at best, Jackson's actions led to thousands of unnecessary deaths, the destruction of cultures, and set a precedent for future presidents to be capable of similarly ignoring the other two branches of government. What may have at least been a voluntary movement became a death march. Though seen as a man of the people, it